If you've ever dreamed of buying your own home, you probably pictured peace, quiet, freedom, a garden you can actually touch, a garage you can actually park in. I pictured all that too. What I didn't picture was two $80,000 Ford Raptors parked in my garage without permission, courtesy of the most power-hungry HOA president this side of the Mississippi, in a neighborhood I didn't even belong to. Yeah, buckle up. My name is Ethan Cole, and I thought I'd done everything right. I spent 9 years renting tiny apartments with landlords who treated maintenance requests like personal insults. I budgeted. I lived frugally. I saved every dime. Finally, I closed on a little slice of heaven, a 3-bedroom Craftsman on Oak Run Lane, comfortably outside the jurisdiction of the infamous Silverwood Meadows HOA. The previous owners practically sang the words when they handed me the paperwork. You're outside the HOA. They can't touch you. I should have gotten that in writing carved into stone because it turns out the HOA president, Valerie Kingsley, didn't just believe she controlled the neighborhood. She believed she controlled reality. 2 months after moving in, everything was perfect. I planted tomatoes, painted my door bright yellow, let my grass grow to a completely normal, healthy length instead of the HOA-approved golf course scalp. Life was good until the neighborhood barbecue. That's where I met her. Valerie, the HOA queen, the self-appointed ruler of Silverwood Meadows, the Karen Emperor. She appeared behind me like a ghost with a clipboard, linen pantsuit, French manicure sharp enough to pierce drywall, a smile so fake it should have come with a warning label. You must be the new owner at 418 Oak Run, she said, scanning me like she was checking for violations on my soul. Your lawn is expressive. Expressive, like it had opinions she didn't approve of. I told her politely, actually, I'm not part of Silverwood Meadows. My property is outside. She cut me off with a laugh that sounded like someone stepping on a bag of frozen peas. Oh, that old misunderstanding. We're fixing that. You'll be fully integrated soon. Integrated. Like I was being absorbed into a hive mind. I walked away. Should have run. 3 weeks later, I returned home with groceries to find my garage door open when I knew for a fact I'd closed it. Inside, 2 fully loaded Ford Raptors parked like showroom models, and my Honda Civic shoved into the driveway like a stray dog. I stood there holding a bag of melting ice cream whispering, "What fresh hell is this?" Then I pulled up my security camera footage, and my blood pressure hit levels doctors would frown upon. There she was, Valerie, standing in my driveway, tapping a device that opened my garage door, then waving the trucks inside like an airport ground controller. I didn't even have time to scream. I got in my car and drove straight to the HOA clubhouse, where she was, of course, sitting at a desk the size of a war table like some suburban queen signing decrees. Why are there trucks in my garage? I asked, my voice doing that calm but about to explode thing. Valerie looked up like I'd interrupted her meditation session. Oh, Ethan, calm down. We're hosting the annual Silverwood Garden Tour, and those trucks belong to VIP guests. They can't be on the street during showcase events. So we stored them in and used garages. And used? That's my house. And, she said, sipping iced tea, it's for community appearance. You should feel honored to participate. I told her, again, that I wasn't part of her HOA. She waved a hand like I was a toddler interrupting adult conversation. We've filed annexation paperwork. It's just a matter of time. You're basically one of us already. Then, this woman had the audacity. She handed me a parking invoice. The owners paid premium parking fees and expect secure storage. Please do not move the vehicles. I stared at her, then at the invoice, then back at her, and she smiled. That slow, icy smile that says, I run this world. That's when I knew. Valerie wasn't crazy. She was dangerous. And she'd just declared war. Next morning, I called the police. Officer Martinez showed up, glanced at the HOA clubhouse, sighed like a man who's seen too much, and said, Another Silverwood situation? After reviewing my footage, he looked genuinely sympathetic. This is bad, he said, but she's claiming authorized access due to an HOA event. Because of the boundary confusion, this becomes complicated. I asked him what he meant by complicated. He said, civil dispute. The most cursed phrase in American suburban law. He recommended an attorney, then left shaking his head like he already knew this saga wouldn't end clean. I tried towing companies next. They all refused. Not subtly either. Are you the guy Valerie warned us about? The unstable one. Unstable? Unstable. I was one HOA attack away from becoming a TED Talk, not a mental breakdown. So I tracked down the owners of the trucks myself. Turns out the VIPs were two middle-aged real estate bros staying at the fancy hotel downtown. Personalized plates, BGRTRKC and RPT man. They were nice enough, but clueless. We paid the HOA's premium parking fee, one explained. We were told our trucks would be stored in the association's secured facility. The secured facility, I said, is my garage. Their faces went white. We'll get them immediately. And just like that, by noon, my garage was empty. But my peace was not returning. That afternoon, I found a Welcome to Silverwood Meadows packet in my mailbox. 140 pages of rules, a compliance inspection schedule, and a dues statement for $300 freaking dollars. Oh, and the attached neighborhood map had been altered. A fresh highlighting now included my property, like a child had drawn on a placemat at Olive Garden. I marched to my neighbor Greg's house. He took one look at the packet and said, "Dude, you poked the dragon." According to him, Valerie's been trying to annex border houses for years. Fake violation letters, fake dues, fake authority, psychological warfare disguised as community care. Why doesn't anyone stop her? I asked. Greg sighed. Her husband's a lawyer with half the county in his contacts. And a lot of people here, like her strict rules, keeps the neighborhood fancy. That's when the real nightmare began. Valerie escalated hard. First, her assistant Pamela started posting violation notices on my door. Improper house numbers, unauthorized door color, unapproved grass height, and my favorite, suspicious garden layout. Suspicious garden layout? Who exactly was my basil threatening? Then came the delivery interference. My video doorbell caught Pamela intercepting delivery drivers, telling them all packages had to pass HOA inspection. I confronted her. She held up a binder. Standard HOA protocol. I'm not in the HOA. Why do you keep saying that? She asked, genuinely shocked. Valerie says you're pending integration. Then she walked away like I was the unreasonable one. I called Jessica, a new neighbor I'd met at the barbecue, who happened to be a real estate attorney with HOA trauma of her own. She showed up with legal pads, glasses pushed up her nose, ready to go to war. She explained it like this. Valerie filed boundary adjustments years ago, but they were never approved. She's pretending they were. That's fraud. Fraud. I almost kissed her from relief. Jessica and I formed a plan. Step 1, documentation. Cameras, screenshots, security footage, a log of every interaction. Step 2, get the truth from former HOA officers. Step 3, follow the money. Because Valerie didn't just crave control. She craved cash. And HOA power? That's a goldmine. Weeks passed. Our evidence pile grew. And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, it got biblical. I came home one morning and found landscapers digging up my fruit trees. My babies. My Granny Smiths. My plums. Being tossed into a truck. The crew foreman shrugged. We were ordered to remove prohibited vegetation. By who? Your HOA president. I screamed at the top of my lungs. I'm not in the HOA. They froze. Then Valerie herself pulled up in her white Range Rover, stepping out like Cruella de Vil at a garden center. Fruit trees are not permitted. They attract pests. You're the only pest on my property. I snapped. She leaned in, voice low and poisonous. You're making a serious mistake, Ethan. And this community has ways of handling problem residents. It was the closest someone had ever come to threatening me with a suburban mafia. But she backed off when I reminded her I had cameras recording everything. 2 trees were gone, 3 were damaged. I was livid. Jessica nearly flipped my dining table when I showed her the footage. This is criminal trespass, she said. We're going to use this to take her down. And then, Greg came through. And this is where the story takes a turn. He sent me an email and said, check this out and prepare yourself. It was a leaked folder of internal HOA communications from a board member fed up with Valerie. And it was explosive. I'm talking. Valerie admitting my home was not part of the HOA. Valerie strategizing psychological pressure to force compliance. Valerie planning to phase an annexation through false documentation. Valerie discussing how border homes increase revenue potential. She was running a scam. A real estate scam worth tens of thousands. And I was her next paycheck. Except now, I had her cornered. Jessica and I built a case file so thick it could have been used as a weapon. We created a website, anonymously, detailing her abuses. Screenshots, videos, testimonies, financial inconsistencies. Greg's camera even caught her stealing electricity from the clubhouse for her personal shrub lighting. And that was the match that lit the gasoline. Silverwood residents finally revolted. An emergency HOA meeting was called. The clubhouse overflowed. Cameras were out. People were whispering. Valerie sat at the front of the room looking confident, until she saw me walk in with a binder the size of a phone book. The board member running the meeting said, "Mr. Cole, you have the floor." I stepped up. The room got quiet, and I dropped the truth like a bomb. I laid out my evidence. The illegal garage entry, the package tampering, the tree incident, the leaked emails, the shell company she used to funnel parking fees into her husband's account, the financial discrepancies, the forged boundary map, the intimidation, the manipulation, the lies, the fraud. Every slide made her face crack a little more. Then came the final blow. Greg's camera displayed on the projector, showing Valerie unplugging HOA clubhouse lights and tapping into the electrical system to run the lighting for her backyard party. People gasped. Someone shouted, "She's been stealing from us." Then, like a Shakespeare twist, her husband Richard stood up. "I warned you, Valerie," he said, voice flat. "I'm not covering for you anymore." Valerie snapped, "Richard, sit down." But he didn't. "She's been doing this for years," he told the board. "She thinks the HOA belongs to her." The room erupted. Someone called for a vote. And right there, right in front of the entire community, Valerie was voted out as HOA president. Unanimously, the board launched a full audit. The city councilwoman attending said she was forwarding the case to the district attorney. As Valerie was escorted out of the clubhouse, she turned, pointed at me, and hissed, "You think you've won? This isn't over." But it was. For her, at least. Within 3 weeks, she'd resigned, put her house up for sale, and disappeared from Silverwood like a bitter puff of smoke. Within 3 months, the HOA rewrote all bylaws, imposed term limits, restored boundaries, and paid restitution to homeowners she'd scammed. Within 6 months, the neighborhood started healing. People talked again. Garden tours were run fairly. Deliveries were safe. My fruit trees grew back. And my property flourished. The new HOA president? Greg. And he banned any annexation attempts for the next 50 years. Things became peaceful. Almost too peaceful. Until one day, an envelope showed up in my mailbox. No stamp. No return address. Inside was a single sheet of paper. For words, "You exposed her. Who's next?" Someone else had been watching. And suddenly, I realized, HOAs aren't just one Karen. They're an ecosystem of power. And maybe, just maybe, Valerie wasn't the final boss after all. What do you think? Should HOAs even exist? Or are they just legal cover for community dictators? Comment your thoughts below. And if you want more stories like this, more drama, more justice, more neighborhood chaos, hit that subscribe button so you never miss the next one.